There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to gamers. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between based and cringe, between clutch and cancel, and it lies between the pit of our fears and the summit of our knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Popoff Zone.
Welcome to Fourside Fights, featuring Edwin Budding, Toph, the Crimson Blur, and Team Liquid's Hungry Box. Citizens of Fourside, I'm Jackzilla, and I know, number one, it is only a matter of time before Mango gets off the Peloton and onto the Aero Tarmac SL7, giving LA pickup truck drivers the finger as they try to kill him. Number two, the attendees of banned tournaments have turned on each other, which is a comforting proof that right-wing infighting is as prevalent as left-wing infighting. Number three, the Survivor 46 finale features the most heartbreaking betrayal that I've ever seen on the show, and I'm still mad about it. And number four, I know that Piketty was wrong when he argued in his landmark book, Capital in the 21st Century, that income inequality is driven primarily by capital gains. Ron Lee's critique that inequality is driven by wealth in land and housing is close to the truth. Let's go to each side. Did you pay your taxes this year? Edwin Budding.
Of course. I got them done early.
Okay. And let's go to the king of Smash Twitter chess. It's Toph.
I have not paid my taxes this year yet. I put it off as late as possible.
Let's go to the man who just won't play Baldur's Gate with me. It's the Crimson Blur.
Of course not. I avoid my taxes until as late as possible. I file extension every single year.
My God. And finally, Team Liquid's Hungry Box.
I pay my taxes.
That's right. That's right. Let's go to.
Doesn't actually answer the question. Does it? Is it on time? Did it say filed extension?
Impressive.
I asked, did you pay your taxes?
Now
Yeah,
the time matters all of a sudden, Blur. Now we're gonna.
It does matter. It does matter.
We're gonna split hairs about this.
You almost had me. You almost had me. Welcome to Fourside Fights. We've got four outstanding guests today who are going to act as pundits as I throw topic after topic at them. They'll give their takes. If they're entertaining or interesting, I'll give them points. If they're boring, repetitive, or patently unreasonable, I'll subtract points. And of course, I can mute any contestant at any time for any reason. The player with the most points at the end is our winner. They get to commentate the three losers as they take it to Fourside in a free-for-all so we can see exactly how their punditry translates to Melee. And for any members of the H-Fam tuning in for the first time tonight, there will be no more political questions. Let's get started with our first topic. For the second time this year, after Full Bloom, Zayn has been cast to the losers bracket by Jmook, only to squash everyone in his way and double eliminate the same guy in Grands. Last year, everyone was telling me losers bracket runs are just too hard in the modern meta when everyone is so good. So does that mean Zayn is further ahead of the field than we think? In his legacy approaching top 3 of all time, what does Zayn need to do to pass Hungry Box? Let's start with Toph.
So you guys saw, I was one of the first people, to my knowledge, I made a list of like my personal top 10 of all time. It must have been like a year ago at this point. I was one of the first people. I was putting Zayn above Ken when most people were putting Ken above Zayn. However, to me, I just think when you look at Mango Armada Hungry Box, in some order, I just feel like there's still too many years in there. I acknowledge that, there's some time dilation kind of going on with the COVID era, and Zayn definitely doesn't get credit for as many years as he was truly dominant, but I think it's going to be at least another year or two. I still have Hungry Box as pretty solidly. And I heard Hbox is playing 30 days or 60 days or 90 days of Melee. I heard some crazy numbers. So maybe never. You know what I'm saying? Maybe after those 90 days, it's just not happening.
Yeah. Blur, what do you think?
Oh, I think he's super far away still. I mean, I don't think the case for him over Ken is solidified yet even.
You're crazy. You're crazy for that.
Yes.
You're literally crazy
I'm
for that.
I'm not saying, Toph, hear me out. I'm not saying that I wouldn't put Zayn above Ken right now. I'm just saying it's not like definitive. I think there's an argument you can make either way. If you say like, hey, Ken's the most dominant player to ever play the game, that's factual, actual. He had the highest prime of anyone ever, or the biggest gap between him and anyone else.
That's right.
That's also true. And if you don't value the COVID era, which I think is whack to not value it, then you diminish Zayn a little bit. But
it's not whack.
I don't know. Wow. Okay. All right, Mr. Bluetooth.
Whack,
Mr. Bluetooth gamer can't set up a Bluetooth headset, Juan.
It's gonna be a good episode.
Edwin,
So
tell
I
me
think
about
there's
the history.
Yeah, so I think there's something pretty interesting about this, right? In Melee history, just broadly talking about the top three, I think each of their paths has been different, right? So they all have something pretty unique that they bring to the table. I think with HBox, it's hardware, right? He's got all the majors, he's won more than anyone else in sort of like the professional era of Melee as we think of it. When we think of Armada, I think Ken was the most dominant for his time, but when we think of a modern Melee player in the sense that we think of it, like the SSBM rank era, Armada was way above the rest of the field and was just like so consistent against everyone else. And we think of Mango, we tend to think of him winning the biggest events and sort of transcending all the or like bridging the gap between all these eras and taking on the best of everyone. Now, I think there's a very interesting path that Zane could have to achieving GOAT status that could actually, depending on how certain things turn out, I think it could actually happen a little bit quicker than people realize, because I think it's going to take a long time to catch up to, say, Mango's super major count. I think it'll take a while to catch up to HBox's hardware. But the thing is, if he keeps beating Mango and HBox at super majors, then not only is he catching up to them in super majors, he's also the gap between him and them, and
he's holding my goats back. More.
So the irony is that if he keeps, the two people.
This is too long of an answer. You're muted. Hungry Box.
I hate that answer. That answer sucked. Can I rebut that answer?
Oh, you could go for it, sure, but you got to be quick.
Sake. It doesn't make any sense, because that's basically saying that if HBox and Mango retire now, then Zane's case gets.
Yeah, you're trying to stop people from attending events. Classic.
That's so whack. That's whack.
That's not what I'm.
Go on, go. Edwin,
no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
All right.
You have 5 seconds to rebut. We got Hungry Box. You get in here.
All right. So here's me. If I get one more rank 1, I'm above Armada. I truly believe that.
No.
Yes.
Why not? Yeah. That would be a whole year of work.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, rank 1's a big deal. That's actually like,
I see an instant Lamau from Nick Yingling in my chat. I don't think it's that crazy at all.
Nick Yingling doesn't even want to be here.
Yeah, rank 1
on top of that, I was rank 1 3 years while Armada was active. I guess that other last year he was half active. That's one thing as well too, and Leffen, and a lot of other people too. Granted, the skill level right now is super duper high because of Slippy. So like, we're at a point now where you're asking me what it would take for Zane to be above like me, and I just look at, if you're rank 1 with no dispute for a certain year, I call it like a ring, like having a ring. And the question is, how many rings does Zane have now in your eyes? The same way that Zane was the best player over the Slippy era, were the Lakers the best team in the bubble for the NBA? Does it count? Is it a Mickey Mouse ring? It's the same thing. It's like, you can ask a billion other people what they value as a rank 1, and you're going to get different answers depending on who you ask. It's inherently true that there are differences between them, but at the same time, when you look at performances and you look at offline, one of the things I'm most thankful for is the moment we, went back offline to Summit 11, I think, or whatever it was. I immediately got top 3 again at that tournament when I wasn't even considered top 20, I don't think, in the COVID era. So if you count it, Zane has 2-3 rings,
like that,
something like that.
Wait, can I just quickly? Sorry,
Edwin, defend yourself. I'm giving you like 10 seconds.
Okay, sure. I think if HBox and Mango retired now, it would still help Zane to win super majors. I only brought them up as additional stakes. I think it's better that HBox. I don't think time hurts them. I just think that he could win super majors and catch up a lot quicker than we think, even if the overall hardware is not there.
That's what you were saying. You were saying his head-to-head difference was going to be make it. No,
argument. I mentioned both things. But I think if he didn't have any, I think if he didn't, I think if he only won super majors and he just didn't play Mango or HBox, that would still help him. That I just mentioned that as an additional thing.
I want to add one more point. I want to add one
final thoughts.
Yeah, final thought is I really like HBox's framing of rings as far as number 1 years ago, but I'm going to add one subtlety to that, and I'm going to say that also how you get ranked number 1 also sort of matters, and this is evident by the way Blur sort of brought up the fact that Ken was super duper dominant. I think it's not just are you better than everyone else that year. For example, to me, that year that Cody was, we literally had them play a 1st to 10. He was slightly better than Zane in results. It wasn't far and above away. It wasn't like, oh, Cody's easily the number 1 player. He could have showed up that day and played bad, and then it would have been another ring for Zane, right? So I think that there is something to be said for how hard you're dominating the field. And for example, I mean, if Zayn wins 20 super majors in a row and gets rank 1 that for whatever year that happens in, to me, that does matter more than just getting rank 1 in a year. It's also how dominant you are. So that's another way he can do it. And for somebody like Zayn who's playing catch up, that feels like a more likely angle.
Yeah. And honestly, I know I sound like a broken record about this, but if COVID never happens, I get 4 years rank 1 in a row. I'll put money down that. I'll put money down that anytime at all.
I think the easy way to prove that is you got to get back up there.
No,
these next 90 days.
If you look at just the results that happened as it was ending, no, Zayn is obviously like a much better player now. Slippy made everyone a much better player, but with the resources that we had in mind there. I won a summit. I got second at fucking Genesis, and I won CEO Dreamland. Zayn won a Genesis, got fourth at a summit, and I'm not too sure what else. If you look at that trajectory and the win set count, I am very confident it happened, but that's not what happened. Obviously, a lot of things changed. We went.
You're saying that the pandemic was brought in by Big Marth to stop.
I think that it's actually sad for him. I actually feel for him because his ascension, which is so obvious at this point, happened right during the biggest shift.
But you're saying the ascension wouldn't have happened. So you're saying no matter what, the ascension is
null. It would have happened, but I think Slippy...
But you would have been better.
No. Slippy made everyone better versus Puff by and far.
Okay, let's move on to our next topic.
Both those things can be true, right? Zayn can ascend and get cracked. Anyway.
I'm killing it. I'm moving on to the next topic. We got 11 of these. To my pundits, my X-Men, to me, we have a top player, a retired TO, a gamer journalist, and a commentator. I'm putting you all in these boxes. Just about every kind of smasher you can be. These are the 4 smasher paths if you're playing the RPG. I'd like you each to explain why you're the most important person on this panel. And if you cowered out, you will lose 10 points.
Wait,
against each other.
Hang on. Let me start by asking you a question, Jack.
Of course.
I read the topic was who is the most important of you. I wasn't going to argue myself. Do you need? I can come up with an argument for myself and go later.
I knew specifically that you were going to try not to do this, and so I added the penalty for cowardice.
Yeah, but did you know who I was going to say?
You can. I can let you could do 2 pitches, but you have to be the second most important at least.
Okay.
I'll barter with you.
It depends when I go. If I had to go first, then I was going to be.
Oh my God! All right, Edwin, you go first. Edwin will defend himself.
I'll go second.
I think all of you have peers and contemporaries. I don't have any of that. I single-handedly shaped how we think of Melee history in terms of results and who was #1 at different times. Literally, when I graduated college, I wrote a book about Melee history. I wrote film channels. There's literally now maybe this is the same thing as being like the best Zelda main, but in terms of the difference between me and all of my peers. I'm way ahead of you. Blur has Juggle Guy. HBox has Mango. Toph has Scar. Who do I have? I don't have anyone.
Let me go second, as I promised I would, and say that I'm more important, at least than Edwin Budding, because I think my top 10 of all time list was better than Edwin Budding. So
no.
If who the Edwin Budding challenger is, it's me, motherfucker. It's fucking me and you in the ring, and you got Ken, and I got Zayn, and let's fucking throw down.
I'm saying above Ken now. I have him above now.
Okay. I'll give you that. You're right. I should have taken that out on Blur, not you. Well, I was gonna say, listen, I've always thought of as long as I could until I couldn't do it anymore because faking it felt disingenuous. I was a player first and a commentator second.
I know that's what all the good commentators say.
Let's stop. Let me finish. Okay. I'm 35 now. I'm interested in too many things. My life is moving in too many different directions. I can't do that song and dance. I can't tell people I'm a competitor first and a commentator second. But as a commentator, I can tell you that I commentate Super Smash Brothers Melee gameplay, and we need Hungry Boxes for that. It's just I can't exist without Hungry Box. Hungry Box can exist without me. I don't mean Hungry Box specifically, but I mean top Melee gameplay. That's what we love. That's what we're here.
You're a barnacle.
And if you want to deduct points for me for anything, you can deduct points.
I do, but you gave a great. Your first half was great.
Let me finish because if you want to deduct points for me for the fact that if I was going last, I was going to go with the joke angle and say the Crimson Blur.
You can't throw these hypotheticals at me. Do it or don't. Blur.
This is so sly. He talked about everyone. He name dropped all of us.
That's right. And wasn't it elegant the way I did it?
Blur. This is not Toph's turn. I'm muting you.
Jack, so here's the thing. I've gone through a lot of personal growth over the last few years. And one of those things that I've gained is humility. And unfortunately, you're asking me to throw away my,
You're enormous.
personal growth.
You're huge bastions of humility.
Humility, this thing that I've really worked towards to have, finally, for once in my life. You're telling me to throw it away, and I gladly will. And let me tell you something. Why am I the most important? Because I think that honestly, I have no good. No, I don't think I am. I can't do it anymore. I don't think I am, dude. All these guys have done more lately. I think so. Like, what am I doing,
All
dude?
right.
I woke up out of
Take
bed
us
for this, bro. I didn't even make my bed. That was someone else did that.
Oh, I hate that for you.
What's the question?
Why are you the most important person on this panel? And fuck the other three.
Because when the time calls for it, I'm not afraid to throw a fucking chair on the stage. And the rest of you probably would be afraid to do that.
A little derivative, but we'll take it for now because the others were largely cowards besides Edwin. Let's move on to our next topic, and we're going to go into it, right? You've transitioned us beautifully. Way down in the hole at Get On My Level in Toronto was Cody Schwab, who lost to the 64th seed, a DK player named Bing, before later falling to none other than Michigan Samus, Morse Code 762, who reversed 3-0'd Cody. President Ringler of DK Nation has informed me that every DK was on their hands and knees screaming, "It should have been me." Let's start with the question that Edwin Budding asked. Is Cody Schwab's loss to Bing the biggest upset in Melee history?
I want to say Mango Fizzwiggle's higher.
Mango Fizzwiggle's higher to you?
But apparently they looked it up and it was the exact same seed loss. It was seed 1 losing to like a 60 seed or whatever. So that was pretty crazy. And then
was Mango rank 1 in the world at the time?
I think so, yeah. He was.
Oh,
he wasn't rank 1, but he was the top seed.
He was seed 1, yeah.
Sure, but he wasn't rank 1 in the world. I don't know.
I think upset performance.
Wait, no, he was rank 1 in the world. Sorry, it was 2022. My bad.
Him losing to DK and then Samus.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. To me, that's probably the most upset run, maybe, of those two. But I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say.
Donkey Kong.
What are the only other comparisons to that upset? Me versus Albert, Mango Fizzwiggle, and what else? Zane Wally, right?
Like Zane Lovage Leffen.
Lovage Leffen.
Lovage Leffen was pretty fucking wild.
Lovage is one majors, bro. Like Lovage is too good. That's not even close.
I think there kind of stands it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that the first thing I actually thought of when I saw the upset in terms of like a relatively obscure character upsetting someone seen as like near untouchable or like at the top was Kage Mango. But there's a couple things with that I think make this fundamentally different. Because Kage Mango at the time, there are 2 best of 3s. Kage actually had a really good first revival of Melee that nobody talks about, where he made this insane run to like top 8. And we know Kage. He's like, he's not like one of the top 10 players ever, but he's like a regional legend. If he's one of the best from Montreal, like he plays.
He's Kage. He's the one good Ganon.
Whereas I get the sense, and I say this with respect, I don't think we're going to be seeing much from Bing, like moving like this. From my understanding, this is a guy. Well, I'm just saying that this is a guy who's like, he seems friendly. He's 35. He's got a couple kids. Like he's not like going out to many events. Like I think he's going to net play a lot.
He's just a guy.
He's 35.
That's where I wanted to.
He's a dude with 2 kids.
So as somebody who obviously got, me and Edwin were kind of talking about this on Twitter.
Chirping.
I think I first have to say I do appreciate what, like, Edwin, I feel like what you bring to the community, of course, is like, the hard statistics and the numbers. And I appreciate that you said what you just said. I think context matters a lot. So for me personally, something like Lovage Leffen is a lot more surprising because if you played Leffen in Fox Dittos in 2017, you couldn't beat him. It was impossible. He outclassed you in every aspect. So
Fox, but you're talking gameplay.
Let me just look. So when I think greatest upset, I get it. Seeding numbers, first seed versus 64 seed. Yeah, that's one thing. Donkey Kong, theoretically, low on the tier list, Fox higher on the tier list. I get it. Numbers wise, you could make the argument it's the greatest of all time.
Best of 5.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Best of 5. But what I really appreciate about the Melee community is that, a lot of, and you actually notice this when you look at the way that Melee fans interact on Twitter, there's actually a lot more nuance these days with the way that everyone's talking. I think the greatest Melee upset of all time contextually, I think Kage Mango is an argument. I think Lovage Leffen is an argument. I'm giving it to Amsa versus Mewtwo King. Amsa was better than all of these players doing their respective upsets. But when you consider exactly what Edwin just brought up, which is what did Bing, we're not really expecting Bing to do, he's not going to have an Amsa-like trajectory if he does.
I hear you. I do want to hear from Blur still.
And well, I just want to also say, like, dude, Mewtwo King was the guy that invalidated low tiers, especially characters Sheik and Chain Grab. And it was a best of 5. And Amsa, yeah, he was pretty good. But like, dude, Mewtwo King, this was 5 Gods Era Mewtwo King. And like, nobody would have called this shit. And the upset was a way bigger deal because like, there are documentaries about it. I mean, it just had so much more of an impact on like on the entire trajectory of the game, the character of Yoshi, just everything.
For now, Blur, bring us home.
Okay, so
we got to get to these topics, boys.
I mean, I think every argument. I think the Amsa one is probably the best one that has been brought up. The rest of them don't even really pale in comparison to Bing versus Cody. So I'm gonna say no. I think Bing Cody is the biggest upset of all time. Because he's 35, he plays Donkey Kong, he has 2 kids. All these things I'm learning, and like it was 3-1 in a best of 5, and like deep in bracket, like against a guy who's like felt untouchable. I mean, I want to remind you guys that Cody and Zayn have won every major this year, and if you go all the way back to like April of last year, only Leffen and Plup, 2 players who aren't that active anymore. Are the only ones who've even taken majors in that span. So from April till now, we have
Hungrybox has.
What major have you taken?
What major did you take?
To add.
Oh, you had something to add. I thought I was just blindly defending
but anyway,
you.
the point I'm making is that Cody and Zayn have been dominating so hard. This has actually been a really, really dominant period in Melee. Usually we have more contenders. And for being a Donkey Kong to take out Cody when our top 10 basically can't take sets from him, for long stretches of time, it's obscene. It's obscene, and I think like Mewtwo King at that time against Amsa, very good, especially against low tier, and Yoshi, exactly what we thought. Incredible upset. That one's crazy. But Mewtwo King wasn't the best in the world, and wasn't like where Cody is now. And I don't know, just like the context behind it all. I can't really find a match in my head that compares to this one, and so I think it's the biggest upset of all time.
I think there's what Toph brings up.
Is that Hungrybox next? We got a previous.
The last
call.
thing I'm going to say about this question is that I think what makes it the biggest upset of all time is when the first time you have ever heard of this player is, this player just lost to this player. That to me makes it a huge upset.
Yeah,
I had even heard some rumblings about Amsa when Mewtwo King lost to him. I have never heard of Bing in my fucking life.
When he's not even like top 5 for his character.
Not even once.
No.
I thought that was a search engine for
and when you get 5 seconds, I'll let you say goodbye to the topic.
To me, that's what makes it the biggest upset, most likely. Anyways, that's it.
Yeah. And you say nothing. We're moving on to the next one.
Do I get my 5 seconds?
No, you're done. You're done.
If DK becomes the new wobbling ice,
you're done. Jesus. Jacked up on Fisherman's Friend and Tylenol, Sunsei got third at Gommel, defeating Kem, Wizrobe, SDJ, and Moki before falling to Jmook and Zayn. Is it time to start seriously considering Sunsei, the hope of Canada, to win a super major before Moki? Edwin, you can start. Keep it brief. Keep it brief.
I got a take here.
Okay, go for it, please.
No, Edwin, go first. Edwin didn't get to talk last time. Go, Edwin.
Okay.
He's got a couple like very specific paths, but I think overall he needs too many things to go right for me to consider in the same level of Moki.
Okay.
All right. Here's the thing. Oh yeah, you go next. Nice.
Neither Moki or Sunsei win a super major or a major if Zayn is in the way until after 2024.
All right. I love that HBox just said that. I love that because I'm gonna actually go against that. I'm gonna say Zayn right now looks like a huge problem for Moki. Zayn does not look like a huge problem for Sunsei in the same way. First of all, there's literally tournament evidence supporting this because Sunsei took a set off him in tournament best of 5, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not just
a bar tournament.
Yeah,
it was a bar tournament.
Was that a legit set, or did he go fucking Roy or some shit?
No, it was Marth.
No, it was Marth. It was
Marth. No, it was
he drunk?
Not that drunk. I've definitely seen Zayn have like 2 beers and then say he was drunk, but he's not drunk.
I think it's opium.
I've also seen them play. Listen, I've also seen them play friendlies, and like I watched them play on Mango Stream for like 2 hours. And bro, there were chunks where like Sunsei would win fucking like 5 games in a row. I know it's fucking friendlies, but like I just feel like, let me zoom out a little bit. I know this is one specific matchup. I feel like when I watch Sunsei play Melee, and also very importantly, when I talk to him, that guy thinks he's the fucking best of all time. I mean, he doesn't.
Fucking
I don't know if
incredible.
he's incredible, but also like the way, I swear to God, the way he looks at himself and the community, I think he's got a really good mindset for exactly this. And I don't feel like he has, I don't think he's quite there yet. I think you're right, but I feel like he's quick to put things together. And I swear to God, man, I talk to him and I watch him play and I'm like, this guy's got some kind of fucking sauce.
And Sunsei beating Cody at Battle of BC was also evidence of that. He's clearly top 50 in the world. Argument for top 10. Very soft for top 10. And the thing is, though, and I read this earlier today, it's just the character factor, right? And the character factor is that, like, on a good day, a Fox main will just fucking beat everyone in the world and win a major. But then on a bad day, they won't even get like place top 16 because of how fragile Fox is, right? And I think because you have the existence of Zane now, unless Zane gets upset by like a Jmook or an Amsa up there, if that happens, and yes, Moki or Sunsei definitely win a major, even this year. But because at a super major, Zane is that locked in, I just don't see until a few months later. That's what I'm saying. 2025. I don't see either of them beating them in a legit super
maybe
major.
2025. So you're making a prediction for the next 7 months.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Can I get you? Can I get you to 12? Can I get you to 12 months?
Genesis 11 is when Sunsei or Moki will beat Zane.
Okay. Well, I'll take that. That's pretty. That's a healthy prediction. All right. Any final thoughts, Blur? Please.
I mean, it feels crazy for us to be talking about, like, it feels like there's so much pressure on Moki in particular to win a major right now, which is really silly because, like I talked about, can anyone but Cody and Zane win majors? Should be really the question, because no one else seems to be able to. It's not just
we're
Moki
trying to will it into existence.
It's not just Moki who can win majors. No one else can. That's actually been the status quo for over a year now. So I think it's going to be tough for either of them to win a major, but I think Sunsei has actually a great spread, even compared to Moki himself, because Sunsei has the one thing that Moki doesn't, which is an incredible Fox Hito. I went into that Moki Sunsei set at Gommel thinking that Sunsei was the favorite, and lo and behold, he won. Right? I don't agree with Toph that he's better against Zane than Moki is. I think I've seen some flashes for Moki that I'm like, that guy's pretty scary. Yeah. I think that's whatever, and I like Moki much more against Amsa and Jmook than I like Sunsei.
I can respond to that specifically, Blur.
I like Moki more against Amsa and Jmook, but in this Fox Dittos against Cody and Moki himself, I like Sunsei. So I think Sunsei has good odds, but neither of them are probably going to win anytime soon.
I hear you, but let's get last thoughts. Let's keep it brief.
The one thing about the specific Zane matchup that I think is really important is when I watch their tournament sets, I'm pretty sure this is like always true. I feel like if Moki gets hit really, really hard in a tournament set against Zane, he kind of doesn't bounce back. He like slows down. And like I watched that set where Sunsei literally got he was down to 2 stocks versus 4 at 0%, Zane at 8. So 8 took 2 perfect stocks, and Sunsei almost won that game. And then played good for the rest of the set. I feel like Moki, like, he gets owned once, and then that's my point. He bounces back better against Zane specifically.
Okay, Edwin, final thoughts.
I need to see more of Sunsei taking sets across the top echelon, but it looks very, very good. Like, I think, like, I get that Zane and Cody are kind of their own echelon, but I would want to see how he does against like HBox, Amsa, and Mango in repeated sets.
All right, I'm gonna start giving points for brevity, so God bless you. And let's get now to our guests in the room. Let's talk about it. Hungrybox versus SDJ resulted in a victory for HBox, but a broken and defeated chair thrown on stage. Blur, you've done battle with HBox over destruction of tournament property in the past. Many TOs and pundits on Twitter took to calling for HBox to be punished or fined, arguing that if it were anybody else, they'd be caned on the spot for destroying this chair. Let's start with the Crimson Blur. Is it worth the entertainment value if we lose valuable venue property along the way? And is this, as Hungrybox said yesterday, and I quote, the most anyone has talked about Melee in years?
Well, did you pay for the chair? Do the TOs have to pay for it? That's the only question that matters to me. The TOs have to pay for the chair.
If I paid for the chair?
Did you pay for the chair? Did the TOs get fined?
I asked Max and the production staff captain 3 times, what's your PayPal? And 3 times I was told, don't worry about it.
Like in the Bible.
You know what they said? They said, we have a lot of chairs here. I think you're fine.
And they might. Well, I don't know what the venue might charge them. They might not want to, ruffle your feathers. They want to see you back at an event. I don't know what the actual truth on that is anymore. But having said that, I honestly don't care as much of the people on Twitter. I know they're like, oh, someone could have gotten hurt. No one could have gotten hurt in this particular case. He put it down on the stage. It is something that I don't want to encourage too much. But at the same time, like, it is getting a bit of a spectacle out of it, and no one actually got hurt. If the show itself doesn't have a problem with it, I don't have that much of a problem with it. Just don't throw it into the crowd, Juan. Be careful. Control yourself.
You can quote me on this. Hey, Blur. You can quote me on this. If anyone ever gets actually hurt from one of my pop-offs, I will remove myself from the scene for a year minimum, because everyone thinks I'm like this uncontrollable, like, spastic, like, whatever it is, like, it's gonna explode. I'm gonna throw the chair at someone. Like, it's very simple to not like to aim what you do things at. Like, yeah, I have adrenaline rushing, but I'm also not a fucking moron. And so it's also like there's no universe to me where that happens. There was like one time where I jumped up after I beat Kadoran at one of the pounds 2 years ago, where I jumped up. I didn't throw a chair. I just jumped up, and the chair fell over behind me and then landed into some guy into the crowd very gently. But that wasn't me throwing it. It was just me jumping up and doing it.
Yeah.
Well, like, if that ever happens, I won't. Like,
that's more of like a Shamu situation.
I will gladly remove myself from this thing. That's how confident I am. Look, I'm just like, it's like I said in my video. I'm just like, I'm passionate as shit about this game sometimes, and to do like a reverse 3-0 in the most mind melting matchup in the entire game, you have to put like 130% of yourself into that set, more than you're comfortable putting in. That's the only way that you win. You have to really put so much that when it finally happens, you explode a bit, because of that's that stressful. But I don't regret a single thing. I'll do it 20 more times, because that's what I felt in the moment, and that's who I am. And I'm not going to go to
one of the woke warriors who tried to cancel you, Edwin.
Well, the chair thing was not.
Thanks, Edwin, for that. I appreciate that, buddy.
The chair thing had nothing to do with why I was canceling.
Oh no, I know, but I know exactly what you were saying there too. And frankly, Edwin, I am disappointed that you fucking did a reach of that angle to actually try and do that.
Don't go on Twitter. Someone explain to what's going on.
Seriously, it made me feel bad, because I'm just like, fuck. At what point can I even say anything that I used to?
That is Edwin's job.
I felt like I have to apologize, so I did.
Yeah, I gave you props for it.
Someone tell me what's going on. Why don't go on Twitter?
Edwin.
I just think he did an oopsie. He apologized.
Do you really think I have anything against anyone?
This is what I think. I've interacted with your fan base enough times over that I think you and I don't have a problem with like you specifically, but I think when you put something out there, like, whether it's an explicit statement, there are going to be young people that take it the wrong way, right? That's what I was talking. I don't think it's not about like what you hold in your heart or whatever, right? It's about how like a bunch of impressionable people lose like what you're trying to say and take other things from it that you don't mean, right?
I have a second take in response to that. I think that your tweet, and actually not just yours, but like it was like 5 different people, angled their tweet responses in a way that made it seem far, far, far worse than what it actually was. In fact, it wasn't me
apologize for telling somebody to suck your dick, right?
Like as if I'm the first person to ever say that. It's like, I understand why, but it's like, in a moment,
Blair, it's also like only a medium funny. This is not actually what I'm super interested in.
I've heard Mango say "suck my dick," and no one gives a fuck.
But he knows you if he says that to you.
It just makes me angry. All right, and then because of the angles, because of everything that happened, I felt that it was important to clarify. It was important to apologize.
That was very good.
It just sucks that I can't blow off some steam every once in a while without it being the end of the fucking world, dude. It's like, come on.
Let me just say on the topic of the chair.
This shit happened. Sorry, my fucking bad.
I think on the topic of the chair, I had no problem with it.
I know. I'm talking specifically.
Yeah, it was.
I'm talking specifically.
I didn't want you to have to re-apologize. I thought the apology was fine.
Yeah,
it was well written and
I'm looking for another another.
Blur, you could go look this up in the background while we're talking about it. Toph, why have you never thrown a chair?
Bring it back
That's
to
what
the
I'm
chair.
trying to ask.
That's exactly right. I'm gonna bring it back to the chair thing. I watched the chair thing on my stream. I analyzed it quite deeply.
Ooh,
I have a lot.
Huh?
I narrated the whole thing. I was also looking a lot at SDJ because I was thinking if SDJ clusters just set out, they might have an
That's what I
SDJ
was-
pop up, and I
yes.
was curious what that would look like. Probably not chair related, but I don't know that much about SDJ. That's
There is only
interesting
one
angle.
better kind of
To me.
timeline, and that's SDJ throwing a chair.
Precisely. Listen, the question at the end of the day, I think it boils down to, is there any real sense of danger?
Right.
I think this time, and you know what? If you'll really look at it, HBox does a throw, damages the chair, whatever, picks it up
I
again.
saw discretion.
And there was exactly. Then no one's talking about this. There was a moment where HBox was like, you know what? I'm done here. And I think that moment, I feel like it really opened my third eye and it made me really understand HBox a lot more as a person, where I was like, dude, this you're operating on so many wavelengths right there. There's so many wavelengths that are happening in your brain.
All right.
I've always said that in the 5 minutes, 10 minutes after a tournament set, a lot of shit goes down that gets taken back later. People get salty. People say things
That's
that they
right.
don't really mean. I've seen some of those net play tournament sets between Moki and HBox where Moki says, blah, 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 this guy. And then I see HBox go to Moki's chat. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, yeah, you know what? Actually, I have no idea what I'm talking about. You're actually really good at the game. And I have a lot of respect. And it's like it immediately squashed. 5 minutes after they said there's a statute of limitations, a lot of crazy shit happens in those 5 minutes. And I would say, if anything, that was kind of tame. I was ready.
I think we should ban phones. We should ban in 10 minutes after a set. Phones should be banned from every top player.
We can all agree on
that's-
We will
that.
say
Put this phone in
arguably
the
the
bucket.
dumbest shit ever in our minds. It is a drug pumping into our brain after a set. We need time. We got to put in the corner. We got to say, no, Juan Mango, sit in the corner, 10 minutes, and think. So much beef would be avoided. And if I'm saying this too, if I want to mention it, the Moki thing you said too, he called playing me a waste of time. GG's, have fun and losers. To me, that was super unexpected. In fact, I was so surprised by it that I didn't respond to it, because not even a month ago or 2 months ago, Moki came up to me. I forget what tournament it was. And he just said, dude, I want you to know everything I say online or on stream when we fight, it's all just shit talk. And honestly, and the real truth is I respect everything that you do. And I respect everything you do and what it takes to win, even all the camping, even everything, because it means you're trying. And I was really happy he said that. And then he turns around and tweets that shit out. I'm just like, Moki, are we not camping the fuck out of each other? Is this not the same
Is this
song
not a
and
dance between two
we've been
lovers?
doing for a long ass
Dude,
time?
dude,
I was sad more than anything when I heard that. I'm just like,
I'm gonna be
damn.
real. As the Fox player here, bro, fucking Puff is one character that should absolutely have the right to complain about Fox. Fox is fucked up against Puff. Fox is fucked up against Puff, bro.
Fox
You have
fucked
every
her.
right.
It's crazy. It's
Yes.
insane.
I am
Yeah,
so
really
with
quickly.
you on
I'm not
Screw
denying
it.
it. It's 60-40 minimum. It always will be. If a Puff wins, they're sick. If a Fox wins, they're patient. Case closed. Just fucking send it, dude, already.
Jack, I really want to bring this back to the
4.
chair for a second.
Oh my God.
I haven't talked in a while.
Right.
I haven't talked in a
That'll be
while.
quick.
Blur hasn't talked in a while, Edwin.
Blur can
All right, Blur, go ahead.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? I don't like the sterilization of all this stuff. If you just watch professional sports, Dirk Nowitzki kicked an exercise bike. There's a guy who punched a locker so hard he broke his hand and couldn't make the next playoff game, right? Kevin
Always.
Durant pops off on people on Twitter, just like HBox is doing here. Why do we want our scene to be different than a professional sports league? We have nothing. We need all the attention we can get. I like the drama. I like the intrigue. As long as people keep it within a certain.
It gives us
It's not a
something
football
interesting.
community.
It's certain-
I
It's
want-
not a
keep it in
football
certain
community.
fucking
There's
like
vibe.
these.
coaches who watch and the players who play.
I want there to be a certain balance to it, of course. I don't want you to be saying slurs or nothing like that. But as long as it's done in a way that within the
That's
context,
your one line.
bro.
What
as
about
long as
animal
within the context-
cruelty, Blur? What about animal cruelty?
Okay, don't do animal cruelty either, Jack. Okay, but just keep
I'm gonna
it
throw a
entertaining,
cat
keep
next
it-
time,
I
guys.
think we all
Watch this.
know-
Everyone
I think we all know.
everyone
Yeah, what
asked
about the
about
crab?
know.
Was it alive? Was it dead?
Yeah.
Nobody ever asked about the crab.
Ideas.
Nobody
What
asked
he
about the
said is
crab.
fine. What
That's what I'm
HBox said is
saying.
fine.
No
It's not
one
that
in the
big a
scene
deal.
will
Yeah,
ever
HBox.
throw an animal
Bro,
at
All
him,
right,
If
let's move on
Edwin-
to our
if-
next
no, no, no.
topic.
If Edwin's-
Stage
if Edwin's-
manager.
if-
That would be
I'm
terrible.
gonna have to
No,
pause
if
it.
Edwin-
Let me find my mute button.
If Edwin's thing is saying that these kids find HBox to be a role model, that's their fault. Pick Martin Luther King as your role model. Pick someone else.
Okay,
he's
Charles
a video
Barkley.
game.
Martin
man,
Luther King
come
is
on.
not live 8 hours a day. If he was, I bet they
Pick someone
would.
else,
Let's
man.
move
Pick
on to our
Gandhi,
next
dog.
topic. Let us move on to our next topic. Juan, you were not done making news this week. You announced that you will be focusing on Melee and dropping Ultimate for the next few months. What can we say to you to get you to drop Ultimate forever? And who will win a Melee major first? Peloton Mango or Focused HBox? And for Blur, I'll even go a step further for your coachee. Who will beat Zane first? Tour de
All I'm gonna
Mango
say-
or HBox but trying?
All I'm gonna say is I'm very happy Mango threw that jab at me like 2 days ago with that LeBron tweet.
Yep.
I will. The only thing I'm gonna say is wait for the results to speak for themselves, and you'll see exactly what I mean. And if Melee is truly scripted and it's me and Mango in Smash in Supernova Grand Finals, I am praying that's the outcome. I am praying that's the outcome. Because if I win Supernova over Mango, I'm gonna tell him one thing on Twitter. I'm gonna say, "Suck my fucking dick."
Yeah,
every
but it's different when you
single
talk to
time, dude.
Mango. and
Every
not-
single
okay,
time.
Whatever.
Because I am
Whatever.
so ready for this. If it actually happens, and I really
You'll finally be
want
allowed
it.
to say it, and Edwin will bless you.
Yeah, and
he
then
will give you-
Edwin
I will
won't
not
fucking
can- I
look
will-
at me
I
and call
won't
me a
cancel
fucking
you.
whatever he called me, because now I'll be punching
I was very
sideways, right?
polite.
Is that okay, Edwin? Can I tell Mango to suck my dick if I beat
You
him?
can tell.
Is that cool
You
with
can tell Mango to suck your dick if you beat.
All right, that's why I gotta get permission
I've
first.
given you permission.
All right,
And
but
I'm
yes,
Go
I
ahead.
think that whatever it happens, whenever me or Mango win a super major first, I think it's gonna be both of us in grands in that day,
Ooh.
and it's gonna be fucking amazing.
That's a grand prediction.
That is very exciting, but I feel like you didn't actually go to bat for yourself and why you're going to win a major over Mango, though. I feel like you just said that it's going to be hype.
Who's gonna do it first?
Yeah, why are you
Who's
going
gonna
to
do it why are you going to win before
What do you think
Mango?
I'm gonna say? You think I'm gonna say Mango? No, it's gonna be me first, obviously.
Why?
Because I almost won Collision and SmashCon, half-assing this shit and streaming Ultimate for fucking 70% of the day all the time. Maybe now if I give a shit, I might actually win. Who
That's
knows?
100% of your brain.
But I'm actually going for it this time. And if I can't do it now, then I can't say shit, can I? But if I actually land it and make it happen, then that's the coolest shit I've ever done. That's why I'm doing it.
I'm going to give him. I'm going to give a
anymore.
measured.
Fuck sub counts, fuck viewership, fuck sponsors. I want to be the best again. I want to fucking win. That's why I'm putting myself through grueling 4 hours of ranked a fucking day, because I actually want to show everyone who the fuck I am and who the fuck I was. Finally, instead of everyone making excuses. All right? So that's the fucking point. So yes,
Let's go. That's a
Me
good why. Toph, you don't buy the why.
Not yet, but I hope this is just an extra. Here's the one thing that I think Mango's got. It's close, and believe me, I wanted nothing more than HBox versus Mango at in grand finals at Gommel. I think the one thing that's really good for Mango right now is he's got a fucking good Cody matchup. And he's always had a fucking good Cody matchup. And I think right now you got to have a fucking good Cody matchup to do well in tournaments. And the thing for Mango is I can always kind of see a path back in to the elite game for him, because like having that Cody matchup is and Fox matchup in general is just so pertinent. But that being said, yeah, I could easily see one. I mean, there was it Collision? What was it, the one where you fucking double eliminated Cody? So I mean, we see one or two more of those. I could easily make the argument the other way too. But that's where I'm at right now.
Edwin.
So I think it's very close. I think both HBox and Mango have really, really good paths to winning a major and like a good improvement trajectory. But when I look at like who I want to predict to win like a major first, that typically coincides with who I think will beat Zane first. And one thing I'll notice with Mango is that he's already made a huge change for what I believe his long-term trajectory is versus Zane, because he started playing Fox again versus Zane instead of just playing Falco and getting trunched nonstop. And I think that's already like, I think having both the Fox and Falco in the picture is already like an immediate change, and being able to play Fox in more matchups. Like historically, we've seen this with Mango a bunch. He typically doesn't only do it with Falco. He doesn't only do it with Fox. It's usually both of them there. Like the Falco cleans up the Foxes day 1, day 2, day 3, the Fox closes it out. So I think if I were to notice like a more immediate change, to me, that seems more significant. Although I think it's very close.
Blur.
Mango's got a way better shot right now. Maybe in 3 months that'll change, because I believe in Hungrybox as a player, but right now it's not even close. I can tell you for a fact, I'm Zane's coach. We spent a lot of time on it. We haven't looked at and studied an HBox VOD like in a year. and we haven't practiced against Puff that entire time. We're not worried. And I'm just telling you the truth. That's sometimes hard to hear, but like Mango, we're worried still, and looking at every set and thinking about it. And the reason we haven't been worried is because HBox hasn't added a lot to his game for a long time. He's added nearly nothing for a long time. He added one Mars killer they did for one tournament, then stopped doing. And then we're just like, ever since then, it's been mostly the same guy. Mostly the same guy. Mango's added a little bit more. And I overall think that maybe, because HBox is a great player, he'll bring it back. And I totally believe in his ability long term. But right now, Mango has a spread against Cody that looks good, against Moki. There's a lot more players that he matches up much better against. And HBox has a couple walls, the two best players in the world, who right now he simply cannot beat. And that's
the two best players in the world. I mean, Cody like 2-0. I'm 2-0 this year on Blur. The fuck are you talking about? Can you stop sucking up Zane?
One tournament, dude. One tournament, bro. One tournament. I've been next to you
being biased for once. What a talk show. Use real results.
You lost like 20 cents in a row to him.
I'm fucking trying now. I'm actually going into that. I've got a fucking coach again. Collision was game 5 versus Zane. I have no shot at all. Shut the fuck up, Blur.
You almost won Collision.
You almost won Collision. It's always Mango, Zane. Every single fucking time, Blur. God
it's
damn
not.
It.
It's not.
One of those players in the world.
I gotta overflow the servers.
You just can't beat that.
The both of you, I gotta separate you for a second. All right. Let's move on to our next topic. This is all gonna be amazing when you have the combo video, Hungry Box, after winning. You pull all these quotes in. All right, let's move on to our next topic. Let's go 3 in a row. You've just announced, Juan, a new online tournament series, the To-Go Boxes, which will be online events with no sponsors featuring experimental rule sets and rotating games like Melee, Smash 64, Brawl, Project Plus, HDR. What rule sets do y'all want to see featured in a To-Go Box tournament? Is it finally time to resurrect Rishi's Jungle Jam? And Hungry Box, are you scared of the copyright cops coming for you?
I'm not at all, because there's no money at all putting into this. It's the exact same thing as me having a Discord call like I'm with you guys and saying, hey, do y'all want a mini bracket right now? And instead of a mini bracket, it's a bigger bracket. And it's just, there's nothing to it at all. There's no law against playing a video game online. And right. if we're allowed to stream ourselves playing Slippy, I'm allowed to run a fucking bracket. Just because we have two, sticks going into smaller sticks, into a quarterfinal, into a semis, doesn't suddenly make it illegal. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah. The point is, the main reason I'm doing it is to make myself practice, to force myself to practice Melee more often. So that's why I'm doing it. And I think that once I narrow it down, and once I really get the ebb and flow of doing this, it'll be good. It's just a good reason to practice for everyone. And I'm just ready to show people what I got, and I'm ready to give everyone else a fucking avenue to actually enter an online Melee tournament. And if
all these other games, it's beast.
Yeah, if Nintendo whatever actually really is against this, I'll be extremely surprised. And then it'll be another fucking knife I have to kneel on, or whatever the expression is. It'll just be surprising. I don't think they're gonna go through all that just to do that.
What formats do y'all want to see, Edwin?
I when you ask me a question like that, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to see anything different. I literally just want to watch good Melee. Like, I don't want to watch Rishi's Jungle Jam or like wacky stages or any of that shit. I just want to watch like good players play Melee against each other. And if I had the time, I would enter it. But like, I just want to see regular Melee. I'm not really interested in like if people are interested in it, like, you should do that. But just for me personally, I would like to.
It is really sad to me that we lost bi-weekly great Melee that was actually really gaining steam at the end in viewership. With the
straight up. I mean, I think the only thing I would do remotely, I would literally model any online tournament, any online event. I think what we had during the pandemic was amazing. I think the only thing that sucked was there wasn't offline. So, but I think in terms of how I would structure online events, I would literally do what we were already doing. I mean, the only thing I would personally love to do is I just don't have the financial capacity right now to bring back King of the Cube. I love show match content because it is serious Melee. I think the only thing I think really appreciate as a community, people like me and Edwin, Stakes, and also the only thing I would do differently besides serious melee in a best of 5 is serious melee in longer sets, because I think that's like the first to 5 thing that I was doing. I think is the only thing that I personally think is also really interesting. I do want to bring it back. HBox can take my idea and run with it if he wants, but I think he's fine with the to-go boxes as they are. But I mean, yeah, it's just serious melee is dope.
It basically just gives us like a Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday melee tournament to do each time. People are going to enter no matter what, because it's just fun to play melee in general too. And I think if we're going to experiment with certain crazy rule sets, I'm going to do crazy ones for Ultimate. You know what I mean? Like WarioWare only or low tiers only. For melee, I knew that Aiden was experimenting with like modded stages or whatever. And if we're already doing like online melee, we might as well just tweak it as much as we want, right? So to have maybe like a giant melee to go box, or you know, something to do with like you know, Mute City only. I don't know. Dude, we can vote on these things. The thing is, we have full creative not licensing. I can't use that word, but we have the direction that we want to put it in, however we want to do it and have fun. We can do a vote for it. It's just a fun way to enjoy melee, you know? And when Liquid told me that they wanted to, or they told me I couldn't do melee coin box anymore, I was like, what really could allow us to still celebrate the game? And I realized the factor that made a difference was money. When we take money out of the equation and just leave the melee,
I have an idea.
You still have a really, really good thing happening there. And people can stream their runs. If they win a tournament, people will sub to them. There's still a prize. There's still something to talk about. And it's just good for the scene in general. So like I said, these tournaments, I'd be very shocked if anyone really got that pressed over it. So I'm going to continue running these until I can't. But if it didn't feel right to not have a melee tournament that I run.
Blur, what do you think?
Hang on. Okay, Blur can go. Fine. But I'm about to cook. When you let me cook, I'm about to cook.
I love letting you cook. You cook first. You want to
let me cook, Blur? Can I cook?
You go ahead. God bless.
You can't do money prizes. I get that. There is such an undertapped, like just potential for weird melee prizes. I have a good example of that in my closet to this day. I have never seen it, but I have a Zane pinata. It's a life-size Zane pinata. It's in my house. I've never busted out. The Golden Guardians commissioned it. They send it to my wife so that she could package it up and have me not see it. And then Golden Guardians got disbanded, so we never got to do content with it. And in fact, this was like when Zane was still part of the team. So we had this idea and we dropped it. We had a bunch of we were going to commission a nun bobblehead figure. If you can't do money prizes, there's straight up Zeke has it all written down. There's a Google document. There were like 30 weird things we were going to make. And that could be like the 7 weird wonders of the melee world, that they could be prizes.
Can you bring this out? Is this in the room with you?
I can go get. Do you want me to go get it?
Yeah, I'll give you 10 points if you bring it out.
I've never seen it.
We gotta see it.
I'll give you 10 points if you bring it out within the next 2 minutes. Go.
10 gets me to 74. Can I have 12?
Yeah, you can have 12.
He goes and I say my
thing. Get the lead. Hungrybox, take the lead back. No, Blur, it's your turn. Blur.
Okay, 2 fun little competitions that I think could be done. I think we can bring back like Smash the Records versus the Baddies. Basically, you have top players go around and you line up a bunch of newer players and you see who can rack up the highest amount of stocks taken. Another idea, this is not even featuring top players, is we can do like of what's effectively like a cosplay or a beauty contest, like you see in like Pokemon, but like with skins. Like just have like a thing where we have like people trot out and make new skins for an event and say like, hey, we're looking for the best skin. And we have like judges rate them and make them, decide who did the best job or whatever. And you can have different criteria for it. Like, hey, everyone make a Gan skin, everyone make a Mart skin, whatever.
Yeah. You know what's the best skin, Blur?
What's up?
The girl reading this. All right, Edwin, what do you think?
That could have gone a lot of ways. I'm happy with that way.
I don't really have any more thoughts on this.
Okay.
I just literally.
All right, we're just stalling for Toph. I guess we can move on to our. No, I'll wait for him. So we've talked about it. We've got a couple different. Yeah, let's just wait. We'll just sit here. How y'all doing? You feeling okay? You okay with us going a little bit long?
Well, he's pulling it out. Van City Primal, the guy who helped me out with the Coinbox mods on Melee Coinbox, he made a new one for To Go Box. He sent it to me. It's pretty cool. And I would show it to you guys, but I guess I'll show it on my stream.
Yeah,
I got it.
Well, let me.
This is big.
Oh my god.
Things are happening in the background.
Y'all ready for exclusive? I'm gonna start ticking up these points for every moment of delicious content Toph delivers.
My only question is, how did he not get it out of his box beforehand? Before, like, I mean, I
How
thought
long's it been there?
Yeah.
like I would have kept that out.
Holy shit!
Oh my
Oh
god.
my goodness.
This is
That's not
that
Zane.
does not look like
That's not
Zane.
Zane.
At all.
That looks more like. Hold on. Can you show the camera?
Yeah, who does it look like?
Hang
Who
on,
does
hang
it
on,
look
hang on.
like?
Bro,
It's like a brown James Bond.
it looks like some
Wait,
like an
wait,
AI
hang on a
generated.
minute. Hang
like-
on a Blur. Because how else would you describe Zane than Brown James Bond?
Okay, come on, dude.
Oh my god.
You just what you say brown James Bond?
Yeah, that's
It looks like
that's-
brown James Bond.
That's Zane.
Oh
Zane's,
my God.
Zane is Brown James Bond, right? Zane would say so. If I called Zane Brown James Bond, he'd be like,
comb
"You call me that,
over.
bro."
Why is his head so fucking big?
Comb over.
He looks like if you
I didn't
combine
make the
all the
pinata.
top
I've
10
never
melee
even-
players
I've
together.
never even seen it until
That's
I
what
didn't
fucking
make it.
charge.
You guys are mad at me like I made it. I didn't make it. I
I'm
don't
just
even know
wondering where Golden Guardian's money was going before it fell
Toph,
under.
I'm shocked you had that in that box for so long. That's
I've had it for
wild.
like
I'm
3 years.
impressed.
Dove, how much do I need to PayPal you to smash that fucking pinata right now?
How many points would, dude? I want to use
How
it.
many, well, you don't want the money. He wants the
I want
points.
the Fourside.
I give you 30 on the spot for smashing it, but I don't know if that's the best use of it.
Dude, I
You
want.
tell me.
There's because there's something I can do with this, right? Like, let's
You could
talk about
smash it here now.
One, I know, but like, dude, I could bring it to like, imagine I bring it to Genesis and like it's H-Box Zane,
Yeah, in the top
Yeah,
eight.
and
maybe,
H-Box wins
or
and I
after
run on
party.
stage. You know what I'm
That's true.
saying? There's
Yeah.
something
But
like- I
no
don't-
one's gonna
Yeah,
believe
the
you.
big
do it. I
problem
can't do it right
that you'll
now.
run
I can't do
into
it
at
right now.
Genesis, and again, we've talked about it a little. It doesn't look like Zane, and you're gonna run into that problem when you try to scale up this
true.
I
operation.
will write the word Zane on it.
Okay, that'll work. You put it on his T-shirt. My name is Zane.
Look,
All right. Well, let's move on to our next topic. That was amazing. This next one
if
is
you
a
want to take
puzzle.
take it up
This next one is a
puzzle?
puzzle question. 10 points minimum if you get it right. During Jmook versus Mango, the stream cut out, leading to a set delay and a reverse 3-0 by Jmook against Mango. How does this affect Armada's legacy? Anybody want to take this
I know
first
you-
for 10 points?
It's simply all I'm saying is Armada could have an hour-long delay. He would have won that set still. Low key. I think.
An interesting answer to the
I
puzzle.
think. But he also plays Peach. Or he get
Good point.
attacked.
He does play Peach among
This was
two
different.
other characters historically.
Being iced is hard.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have an answer to the puzzle? Will you risk it? Risk your points.
I know the answer to this.
Okay.
It's going to be something about how Ken is the secret goat and how Ken is going to go above Armada because of this.
We'll see. That's your. So what's your answer? Is a vague gesture at something hypothetical? Nothing specific.
It's that Armada goes below Ken to number 4 or 5 or whatever.
Okay. Toph. I can't hear you.
Oh, if you're muted.
I'm sorry, I'm unmuted now. There's a correct answer, right? There is a correct answer. Okay.
There is a correct answer.
Okay, so this is how this all sort of comes together, right? Because I think there was an era of Melee where there's a correct answer. This is not going to be the correct answer. I was just going to paint a picture here. Okay, imagine a world where Mango like losing the set in the way he did shows the humanity of Mango. Like, oh, he was in the zone, he was locked in, boom, some bullshit happened, now he lost. Okay?
Wait.
And
I know the answer. Sorry.
I'm getting
I know
there.
the answer.
Calm yourself.
Well, I'm gonna get then I'll get it wrong, and HBox can get it right and make me look bad. But listen, I think that Armada. So yeah, I think that set showed Mango is a human. He's not an all-powerful deity. And I think Armada just, the Sigma emote, the Moai statue rock. That's that emote, the emoji. You know what I'm talking about? Someone do that emoji in chat or whatever. The Moai statue. So that's Armada during those moments, right? He goes Sigma mode and like tunes out from reality because he's just cold as ice. He's cold as ice, and I think Armada moves up. That's
I have the right answer.
Go for
Armada
it. Is
Armada actually cannot be iced. We have one set that is proof of that. If there is delay, Armada ends up locking the fucking meditating as he did versus Leffen and bringing it all the way back, or extremely close to bringing it back.
He lost
Armada-
the set, the meditation 4-stock. He literally lost.
He did lose the set, Hungry
for-
Box.
he
I'm
forced
afraid.
it
I'm
on
afraid
Wait,
that is-
No. He was down 2-0, brought it back to game 5, and then missed the
but he
jab.
still lost.
There's a phantom jab.
But don't you feel like he lost the battle but won the war, Edwin?
No,
That
he
was
lost
an
the
RNG.
tournament.
Okay, well, I
He
just-
lost the
Actually,
tournament.
Hungry Box won the tournament, so really that was.
No, the Beast 5 is the one that he's talking about, the meditation 4
Oh,
stock,
okay.
right?
Yeah. There are multiple. Yeah.
Yeah, there's multiple. Okay, thank you. That's my point. Multiple
Yeah,
parts.
I feel like he lost to you after getting
Lot of
iced a couple
delay
times.
in his favor. And I think if
Okay.
there was a stream delay, he gets out his hand warmers, he sits still, he harnesses all his Swedish energy, and he fucking closes it out 3-0. In fact, I'd argue game 3 would be the worst of the 3 games for Jmook.
A wonderfully detailed answer. Blur.
I'm gonna zag where these guys zigged. I think the answer to the puzzle is it doesn't affect Armada's legacy. It just doesn't.
Any more?
I mean, it can't. There's 2 unrelated players years later.
Unfortunately, none of you found the correct answer. Insane. That means you all are going to be docked 10 points. I'm sorry to say.
Huh.
And the
What was the
answer
correct
will
answer?
remain a mystery to all those at home. I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
Leaving it a mystery.
I'm deducting 10 points for you.
Take 30
Not-
points off, Jack. That's what
Oh,
I
you're
fucking
taking 30 points off me.
You're a
and
negative
showing up
3
all
now,
the
buddy.
time. That's so cute. I'm muting you. I'm muting you. I'm muting you. And the silence. We're going to just breathe in this and I'll ice all of you out. And I didn't have to mute Blur, so he gets a couple points back for being a good boy. All right, let's go on to our next topic. Let's see where we're at. Fat Goku made a big post on Reddit imploring tournament organizers to stop using pop bonuses. He argued the answer was that Ken goes above Armada, but I didn't like how Edwin said it. Fat Goku made a post saying, number 1, that the people do not properly incentivize top players to come, that pop bonuses don't benefit 95% of the players at the tournament in any real tangible way, and that pop bonuses often are acting as an opportunity cost on other things that a tournament could spend money on. Was Fat Goku right? When are pop bonuses useful, and when are they harmful for events?
If I am given 5K out of the sky for a coin box or whatever, and they ask me how to use it now, I'm not putting it into the pot. I'm giving, well, if it's melee, I'm giving Mango, Zane, Cody, Jmook, and one other person each $1,000 to enter, and that for the incentivization of other people to have top talent there makes a lot more sense. I used to think, oh, bigger money, bigger prize pool means more players, means better tournament. That's not the case at all. The reason people watch and the reason people play is because they have the chance to witness greatness, whether it's playing against someone really, really good or watching someone really good play. So there's a reason top players have the draw. There's a reason even someone, it's a kind of an off-kilter example, but the WNBA has had record viewership, not even close, because it now has a star, or actually multiple stars, to gather around. Stars make a sport a spectacle. It's very, very true. And the Caitlin Clark effect can be attributed to almost anything else that you want, even esports. Having stars in your tournament makes it shine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 100% with that. I think that at the end of the day, like it's actually more accentuated in melee compared to that's like already true for lots of games, esports. I think melee in particular is a game where when you look at it, this used to be a more relevant metric, but I always looked at, like, for example, like the Twitter follower accounts of like our star players versus even top like ultimate players, or I guess at the time whatever Brawl Smash 4. The Five Gods era was a great example of this. Our top players they have a lot of star power in the greater esports scene, and like we should be playing to that strength whenever we can. I mean, I think that other games have started to figure this out. I mean, there's a reason that Daigo isn't necessarily making it in the Capcom whatever finals, but is still like, the face of Street Fighter for a lot of people. It's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, pop bonuses matter when your tournament brand or your TO brand isn't very big. So things like UGC, GTX, these events benefit a lot from a pop bonus because players wouldn't have gone otherwise because the TO didn't have the reputation. But at a Genesis or a Big House, as a tournament, doesn't gain that much by adding a pop bonus because the players will go either way. Simply having the players out there is really the purpose of a pop bonus. If you're going to get them either way, that's really it doesn't really matter as much. It's good to have more sustainably for the players, but realistically, with the way we've been as a scene, sustainably for our TOs, our commentators, our key contributors has been a much bigger pain point than our player bases, because at least most or some of the top 10 is sponsored often enough that they can sustain themselves, but the other contributors have a harder time contributing. So like that's like the formal answer to that question. I don't really like the idea of doing more appearance fees, which is the idea of like basically paying X players to just go out and come, because I think it's kind of whack if, let's for example, let's say Kadoran wins a major, but because we paid
Beautiful world.
Yeah, well, but because we paid Mango $1,000 to go to the tournament, he actually made more money than Kadoran, who won the tournament, right?
I think it depends on the context of the tournament. I think if you're a Genesis or a Big House or even a Tipped Off now, or even a Supernova, you don't need a prize pool because there's the prestige of winning that tournament by itself. When you're a smaller up-and-coming regional trying to make a name for itself, yeah, if you fly out a Mango or you fly out a Zane and they come and they almost get upset or a crazy tourney run happens, suddenly you have a storyline attached to that tournament series, which gives it Veritas, which gives it prestige, and then suddenly one day it too can become something as notable as the super majors that we hold now steady. And I think
how much do I need to pay you to go to Indiana and throw to Morse code 762?
Look, it's a fun thought experiment, but like Jack, we don't got the money to exactly divvy it up this way. So this is genuinely a hypothetical.
Friggin' broke.
Yeah, so I feel like
not broke, but
I feel like a common pain point here is, I think we can all agree that pot bonuses like long term for most TOs, I don't really think, like Ambi Sinister did a study back in like 2017. I'd be curious to see how it holds up today, but basically pot bonuses, if like you're a new coming TO, they can be effective in sometimes drawing like good out of region players, but it's not like a sustainable way to like increase overall attendance. And I think just sort of on a broader note, but with pot bonuses as an example, I think the problem is that like our tourney ecosystem, I feel like the leverage dynamic between like the players, like other contributors to the scene, like even commentators and stuff, and like TOs is just like really out of whack. Like I think unless you're like Genesis or Big House, I think the players have like a ton of leverage. So I'm I'm pretty like, I don't want to say hostile, but I'm pretty like hesitant on the idea.
You're hesitant. You can say hesitant.
Yeah, because I think it feeds into an existing leverage problem within the ecosystem. I think realistically our events need a little bit more leverage, and I'm not convinced that giving like the best of the best more money to come to events will fix that, which I think is a really like big fundamental problem in the scene. Or not problem, but it's like it's a recurring issue that limits our events' abilities to grow and put money towards things that might make the event experience for everyone better.
Well, I mean, I think it is an issue, but I think it's an issue for a reason, right? I mean, ultimately, like, the money is going to go where people want it spent for what people care. If people really, 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 really thought that, going back to that first or second question, I was the most important out of all because I'm the commentator, then I would be getting the big money. But instead, I have basically zero income right now. I'm trying to get back into the tech industry. And me personally too, I watch a tournament not based on who the commentators are, but who the players are that are there. And I personally think that if you can call it a necessary evil or whatever, but I think it is the way it is for a reason. I think people want to watch good Melee.
I can say something kind of.
People want to watch Toph.
Yeah, I was going to actually.
But I don't think they want to watch me or Scar or whatever, whoever your favorite commentator is more than
commentating pools. They would never do that.
Yeah, I will say even at like the regional level, like what we're seeing. So like I guess 2-day regionals are kind of coming back, which I was a little hesitant about again. But like I will say, Toph, I wouldn't underestimate like the amount of eyes that having of like familiar voices and faces like yourself or like Vish has on an event. I actually think in a lot of ways that in terms of just like maintaining viewership, having a really good stream product does like matter a lot. And I think for a lot of audiences that are tuning into Melee, it might situationally actually be more of a draw in a way of keeping eyes on the event if you have like yourself or Vish there than maybe necessarily like a top 20 player or a top like 25 player. So I do think that like there's uncaptured value in that for some events right now.
And I
Final thoughts.
Yeah, well, final thoughts right here. Okay, if you're gonna butter my buds, I think it also really helps to have these really kind of meticulous sort of these numbers guys who are putting all the stats together after the tournament and writing the recaps. I think that's a really important thing too. And our Edwin Buddings the scene.
We all love each other.
I think it's a beautiful thing.
We've set our beef aside. We love Edwin. We love our top players. We love our commentators, but we don't have any money. Blur, what final thoughts on this?
I think I actually disagree with Toph that I think if you're talking about let's say a Genesis scale tournament where the rest of the top 10 is there, but for whatever reason Plup isn't there, right? And versus Toph isn't there or Scar isn't there or whatever, I think it gets hurt more by Toph or Scar not being there, pretty uniformly. Now the higher you go up in the rankings, let's say a Zayn or a Cody, it feels more and more fraudulent.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think the hours on broadcast really matter on that. 6 hours a day of Toph and Scar is going to be more than 4 or 5 sets on stream for any average top player, right? It's just going to do more. But of course, both matter. It's just right now, the very little money we have, all of it's going to the players, and zero is going to commentators, COs, etc. So even if we care about the players, we should have at least some level of distribution that's better than that.
All right, let's move on to our next topic. This is our final topic before the tiebreaker. At EVO North 2007, Dreffin overcame Viper Boy, Mathos, Eddie, and Kells to win $301. What does he need to do to overcome B-Bats, Magi, and Hungrybox to take his second big FGC title at Combo Breaker this weekend?
Did you say who's the third person in that list?
What's up now?
Dreffin beat?
No, the third person list of people that Dreffin needs to beat this
Magi,
weekend?
and Hungrybox to take his second big FGC title.
All right, now.
You don't believe in Big Dreff? What's going on?
Well, okay, hang on. You're putting me a weird spot. No. Let me go first. Jack, you're putting me a weird spot here because, okay, here's the thing. First of all, I think me and Dreffin, I love that dude. We actually smoked a little bit outside the venue at Genesis. We talked for an hour. Dude, I fucking love that guy. And he is an incredibly realistic human being. People got really mad at me when I was commentating him versus Zayn at Summit, and they were like, Toph commentated that set as if it was a joke, and Zayn triple 3-stocked the guy, and I was like, Zayn triple 3-stocked the guy. I commentated what happened, and people got fucking mad at me, dude. I love a good underdog story. I love Dreffin. You don't even understand how much joy I feel in my bones when I see Dreffin in an event. I don't think he's beating H-Box.
Not today.
So what I can say about Dreffin is that I have fought him both offline and online. I think when I fought him online, he was using an alt called My Dad or something. I'm like, who the hell is my dad? And this fucker goes Zelda and beats me with Zelda after buttering me up with Sheik. I would laugh every time I went Zelda, and he just kicked me, and I was like, oh, the set's over. And that really, really sucked. And then I had a chance to fight him online at a Waddle Wednesday. He beat me in winners, and then I got my revenge in losers. So I respect him very, very much as a player. But fun fact, we actually fought, me and Dreffin, at the last SmashCon.
With fists?
The most recent one, 2023.
Okay.
And I believe it was a 3-0, but I remember, just like every other person who takes a set off me online, they try to do the same thing that they got away with, and then it doesn't work for some weird reason. And I don't know why.
Anyway, audio delay. Huge.
Well, I will say that this Dreffin, I think, is, in terms of longevity, the longest lasting player that can still keep up with a lot of the top dogs. And for that, I have to tip my hat to Dreffin for being one of the only people that's older than me and Mango and Amsa, and still out here killing it and still innovating with his character by using Zelda very, very often. I think it's damn right inspirational. And everyone's asked me, H-Box, how long are you going to play Melee for? And my answer's always the same. It's I'm going to retire 1 year after Mango retires out of spite. But when I look at someone like Dreffin, it makes me think, maybe there's never a reason to really put down the controller. And I think it's pretty inspirational. So I look forward to playing him. I really hope it's me and him in some of these.
I will retire 1 year after Dreffin.
And dude, I gotta be real with you guys, man. Like Dreffin, because I need to say this because people think I'm a Dreffin hater, which is insane.
No, nobody thinks that here. Who are you talking about?
Yeah, I think a lot of PGH.
You've been saying nothing but nice things.
PGH Northeast Ohio people were fucking mad at me on Twitter for like 2 weeks for that.
I bet they've forgiven you.
All
They
right,
forgot.
anyways,
But let me just say my piece real quick, dude. Dreffin also people fucking meme on the guy too much. Like if you've actually watched his, he does some shit like the falling dare and shit, but he like ledge dashes and shit now. He actually looks good. Like he doesn't look like
he earned his summit slot.
People talk about him like he's that same Sheik that just down smashes. He's absolutely not. He took Axe to game 5 at Genesis. It wouldn't be that shocking. I'm just saying I think specifically HBox is a toughie.
All I'm gonna say about Dreffin is that this is the man that ended the reign of Hanky Panky in Columbus. Do you know how difficult that was back in the day to defeat Hanky Panky in Columbus? No one could do it.
That guy's good.
Yeah, if you could beat Hanky in his prime in Columbus, all it takes is a training chamber or whatever with Hanky. Bring Abu there. That's even good puff practice historically for HBox. I wouldn't sleep on him.
I will say that what I'm synthesizing here from looking at the Combo Breaker attendee list, if somehow Dreffin dodged HBox, there's a world where he could be the second best player in the room or avoid the puff matchup and do really well here. Blur, finish us up on this topic.
In the spirit of personal growth, I've been trying to work on my manifestation, positive self-talk. So you know what? I'm just going to say it. Dreffin's going to win Combo Breaker. We're going to have it. It's going to happen. And I can see it happen. Here's the thing. He's been lying in wait for, 20 years of playing the game and learning. And he's going to bring it all out in a tournament where he pretty much has to beat, a couple people, study a couple people, and he can do it. I feel like if it happens, here's the thing that we have to understand. If it happens, he's going to roll up his controller, no pop off. He's going to walk off stage and he's going to go back to his family. And there's something beautiful about that you really can't replace. So I think he's got the inner soul, his soul figured out to get this one. So you know what? F it. Dreffin's winning.
Hey, Blur.
I believe. What's up?
You want to put money on that?
He has put money on the most horrendous bets in the
Yes.
How much you want to put?
Well, am I getting odds?
Yeah, give him odds.
Give him odds.
What odds do you want?
Let's go with 1-1. Let's go with 1-1.
My
1-1 odds. Okay.
Take it, dude. Take it, dude.
$1,000?
All right. Okay. Whoa. Not everyone's got the.
He's a humble landlord. Okay, he doesn't have it like that.
I take money from my tenants. Not chill out. I'll put $20 on it.
Wow.
Make it 100.
Brave.
Let's make this interesting at least.
Make it 100, dude. You're such.
He just gave me 20 for 1-1.
It was 20 to 1-1. What is wrong with you?
You said 20-1 odds.
Wait, can I ask you a
$1
Hey, can I ask you a pertinent question
$100 bet?
real quick? While they're figuring this out?
Dude.
Jack, can I ask you a pertinent question while they're figuring this out? When people I saw Hugs post some stuff about real estate on Twitter, and then someone says, dude, it's such a W that you're not a landlord. When people say that about Hugs, are they just roasting Blur? Is that like those people is that what that is?
Well, Hugs is banned from Fourside Fights because he is a collaborator. I don't know how Blur gets through my landlord filter, but every time I look at him, I just forget. So let's move on to our final thing. Hungrybox Blur, you could settle this financial problem off the air. We do not endorse gambling here at Fourside Fights. Let's move on to our tiebreaker. Now, here's how the tiebreaker works. If you've ever seen like RuPaul's Drag Race, RuPaul will create this situations where he could just kind of decide who wins in the episode. And we have a very, very close top 3 here, but Edwin's not out of it. If the 3 of you choke, I'm giving it to Edwin. You know what I'm saying? So this is it. Here's the tiebreaker. Jmook asked on Twitter today what mantra people use to lock in. For me, it was easy. Fear is the mind killer, the mantra of the Bene Gesserit from Dune. But for the win, I would like each of you to explain to the viewers at home, to each other, to me, to yourself, how do you lock in? And we're going to start with Edwin as our 4th place pundit.
There's one quote that I really like, and it's from Lord of the Rings by Gandalf. And it's all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. And I always think about that a lot, actually, because I unironically love Lord of the Rings, like my favorite film trilogy ever, from one of my favorite characters. This is not me putting on, like, you could literally talk to me.
That's
about
very
Lord of the
good.
Rings.
It's a little cringe that you're attributing the quote to Gandalf instead of J.R.R. Tolkien, but I hear your meaning here.
Yeah, the character. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You liked it when Gandalf said the thing. That's one of my favorite scenes too. One of the best in the trilogy. Hungry Box, you are next. How do you lock in?
How do I lock in? You're asking me the quote that goes through my head when I'm playing and I need to actually
whatever you need to tell me.
I always tell myself, one life, it's worth an attempt. You have only one life. Why the fuck give up right here? What is the actual point of putting it down doing nothing? I'd rather fail than do nothing, because at least then I'm doing something. Imagine that. Imagine doing absolutely nothing with the short blip you're given here. Why the fuck would you want to do that? And I don't know. That's always what I told myself. And yeah, a lot of people call me extra or cringe or cathartic or histrionic, whatever the fuck you want to call it. By all means, I'd rather be that than no one. I'd rather be that chaotic mess on your screen than someone you'd forget forever. So that's what I tell myself every single time. Why not?
Can I go next? Because that segues into my answer really, really nicely.
You're leaving Blur for last, which is dangerous, but I'll allow it.
That's fine.
Watch yourself, counselor.
This is 8 Mile right now. I'll go first. Listen, that actually, there's a quote that I really, really like, because when you asked me that, there's two ways I could answer this. One was like when I was a tournament competitor. My answer is different there. My answer these days, because I'm not really much of that anymore. I think me by nature, I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I think a lot of us probably in this community, like, we relate to, like, sometimes you have so many things you want to do that you go nowhere at all. You look at fucking YouTube shorts or whatever the fuck, right? So I wrote down in my little personal journal, I wrote down, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Right? The classic, that's a quote I heard one time. The classic one, of course, anything worth doing is worth doing well. But it's just get fucking started. Like, just do it. Whenever I'm trying to start a new project, whenever I'm trying to stick to my routine or my discipline, whatever it is, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Just fucking do it. And I think a lot of people in for some reason in this particular community, I think, need to hear that. Yeah.
There's a Dan Harmon quote. He might have been quoting somebody else, but when writers who think that they're bad come to him, his advice is prove it.
Yeah.
Blur.
The Doom Eternal soundtrack by Mick Gordon. There's a song on there called "The Only Thing They Fear Is You," and I think that song is sick, and I love playing it. And I think that what it's trying to say, which is basically you're in hell and you're actually the Slayer there, and you're the one that they're afraid of. The demons is way sicker. It's a sick mentality to have of, like, it's actually you're the danger. You Walter White it a little bit, and you're like you're actually believing yourself.
Rorschach.
Or you Rorschach it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. These are not good men you're describing. These are horrible people.
Wait. Rorschach was multifaceted. He wasn't
multifaceted. I said a lot of blots on that face.
I have one last thing to add, which is actually a quote. I didn't want to say it because it's a little cringe, but it's from Ping Pong Land. It's from Ping Pong the animation, and all it says is, "You can't fly across the ocean on such thin wings." And to me, that has always sat with me ever since I heard of it.
JDMH, play the theme right now. Play the hero theme.
JDMH, play the hero theme. You can put it in post.
He's doing the H-Box.
Huh?
All right,
that's
this is tough.
I didn't know what I meant the ping pong theme, but that's perfect. That's fine, man.
Yeah, that's even funnier.
This is tough. This is one of the classic episodes. This is one of the classic episodes where I wish I could have two winners. And it's very tough. I'll say for each of you, Edwin, you showed great spirit under a hostile audience and under pressure to staying true to yourself, and I love that. Blur, as always, despite everything I hate about you, I end up loving you. Hungry Box, you showed passion and chutzpah, unlike the which I have seen on this show. However, Toph brought out a prop. He brought out a fucking Zane Pinata. And for that, he is the victor and the king pundit of this episode of Fourside Fights. We're going to go to our fight on Fourside. It is going to be Blur versus Hungry Box versus Edwin Budding on Fourside in a free-for-all to see exactly how their punditry translates to melee.
I was hoping Toph would win.
You just
I
wanted
needed
to be
Toph
part
to
of the
win that.
free-for-all.
Oh, I'm getting your ass, H-Box.
And we're off. Look at two Marths, and Hungry Box. Okay, so I mean, the thing that I know about these matches is the results are not always what you'd expect. I remember Cody famously, maybe not famously might be the wrong adverb. Maybe just infamously, maybe just not famously at all. But Cody did lose to Slime. Hey, I'll say it. Cody losing to Slime, bigger upset than Cody losing to Bing. Let's see. Slime also beat Graves, Bing. Who wins that? Graves, Bing. I guess Bing winning that.
Yeah.
I mean, Falco punches DK. Yeah, I don't know. That's a toughie.
How did he feel about the episode? Did I make the right decision?
Absolutely. I'm really I'm really curious about the I gotta say, I'm really curious about what the answer was to that one question that I read.
Oh, I briefly mentioned it. It was the puzzle.
That was sick.
It was that Ken sneaks ahead of Armada.
Ken sneaks a holy smokes.
But Edwin didn't. Edwin had the right answer, but I'm suspicious that he stole the answer from my spreadsheet because he has access to it, and so him not explaining his work, how he got there, was disqualifying.
Hey, this is really funny. Listen, I gotta say, if Blur loses all his stocks before either of H-Box, H-Box killed him.
This is a furious Hungry Box.
This is hysterical. Wait, Blur's
and famously, Blur has refused to ally with his fellow proletariat in these matches in the past. And it again is coming to haunt him.
Oh my god, I'm destroyed. So the thing about free-for-alls too, right, is I think Puff is better on Fourside than North. I think Puff is definitely buffed in a 3-for-all on Fourside than fucking Marth. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh my god. Come on.
Look at that.
Dude, come on.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Fox is also buffed here. I have no idea how Cody lost. Actually, I do know. I think he failed to do the wall jump thing 4 times and was only trying to do the wall jump thing and was not very concerned with fighting his opponents. And I've noticed that H-Box doesn't seem to have that same, let's say, proclivity. So, what if Edwin down there?
Edwin couldn't resist.
Edwin could not resist. Okay, well, now we got Ed and Buddy. I'd say this is a pure 50-50.
I would take the battle from Twitter to the sticks.
Let's unmute Blur so I can interview Blur, right?
Oh, okay, Blur, you can speak. You're unlocked.
He's doing the roll thing wrong. Okay, Edwin, you have to start on the other side of the puff. Oh, Edwin's winning. You have to start
Edwin's
on
had
the
4 rest punches that he hasn't killed him off of.
No, because Edwin keeps starting the roll. Does Edwin play Marth? It's Monday Morning Marth, right?
He's beaten Zuppy.
Bro, what do you mean? What does that phrase mean? What do those words mean in that order?
Edwin beat Zuppy.
In
Melee,
Super Smash Brothers Melee?
It was Fox, right? Yeah.
What do you mean by beat? What do you mean beat Zuppy?
No, Edwin's Marth.
Edwin's Marth?
They don't know.
Best of what?
Best of 3. But it was a while ago.
None of these words
gas you up. Shut up.
So sick. I'm so proud of you. You know what? Slime beat Cody that one time. Oh my god, Edwin's getting trunched. This is crazy.
It's not even close.
Edwin,
this man just did 163 rests in an hour.
Oh my god. You have to tech that. You have to start the roll from the other side of the Jigglypuff.
We are
back to our full screen. That was, I believe.
I know, the UFO threw you off, but you also messed up on the building where it was.
That might have been the fastest and most dominant fight on Fourside I have actually seen in 36 episodes of this show. Congratulations to Hungry Box for winning the fight on Fourside. You embarrassed the Marths. Congratulations to Toph on your victory. An excellent episode. Great job, pundits. We will see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you all for being with us.
I love you guys.
Bye.
GG's. Bye.
Peace.